Hello, guys. Welcome to another episode of An About Nothing podcast. I think on behalf of every crew member that belongs to An About Nothing, one capacity or the other, we would like to apologize for our absentees. We've been experiencing some technical difficulties, and we don't want to deliver subpar podcast episodes to our listeners and viewers out there. So, I guess we're on the mend. I think Elemete can bear witness to the fact that we're on the mend, that we should be back fully, hopefully by next week. But it would be very wrong of us not to, how do I put it? The Formula One season starts next week. By this time next week, the first race is over because obviously it's Australia. The race is going to happen 6 a.m. Nigerian time. For those that are in West Africa, obviously. So, but it would be remiss of us not to even take a deep dive into Formula One, the Tifosi, and everything. Because as far as I'm concerned, if you guys can see, I'm a new member of the Tifosi. Do you understand? Wherever Hamilton goes, I follow. Formula One, as much as it's there are teams in it, it's basically an individual sport. And I think there's no disputing that. You look for the driver that you like and you support him. Me, and in case anybody happens to maybe go down my Facebook account, if you can find it, and you see me praising Vettel, I was hacked. I was hacked. Please, I'm a full-time Lewis Hamilton guy. Our Formula One Supremo is in the house. LMJ. Sunday, we see precision testing, and the way precision testing works is, if your team or your favorite driver is struggling, it's preseason. Do you understand? But if they are doing well, we are ready to go for the new season. We're ready to conquer the world. And with what we saw in Bahrain 2 weeks ago, McLaren's speed from last season is still there. There's no joke. That speed that we saw last season is still there. But to you, who's the closest contender? Because everyone keeps saying, oh, Mercedes is better than last year. Ferrari look good. Red Bull have not fixed their issues. Is it just, oh, everybody's trying to game the system to deny it, or there's
Yeah,
someone else contender?
I don't really think there is a contender to rival McLaren for now, because from what I saw from testing, this is going to be hard to say, but the Red Bull team was the fourth best team, and that is very alarming. The fact that a lot of us are still tipping Max Verstappen to win, and his team didn't really display what we expect, because at least we expected them to be the second best team on the grid. That is the way I expected things to go. But from what I saw in Bahrain, I think that the second best team looks like Mercedes for now. But the fact that Mercedes is going to be fielding a team of what I would call a rookie and a not so experienced driver, it it also influences what we might see at the end of the season.
What do you mean by not so experienced? The guy, let me interrupt you there. George also said that he beat Hamilton twice, so I mean 3 times, please.
No, we need to admit the fact that last season, in as much as a lot of people did not pay attention to last season happens to be one of the most competitive seasons we've had in Red Bull in close to a decade. We had 7 drivers that won more than one race. So that
Yeah,
goes to show you
yeah.
that there was a lot of dynamism. The drivers' championship went to the last stage of the competition, and even though we already knew that McLaren was going to win the constructors championship, there was still a glimpse of hope that one of the McLaren drivers could have won the championship. So, but the way I'm seeing it this year, the whole grid has been turned upside down. We have like, I think there are like 5 rookies this season, and,
6. Actually,
and
it's a record. We have 6 rookies.
I think it's a record in Formula One where we like, and we also have rookies in top teams. We have rookie in, I wouldn't
Red
like
Bull.
to call him rookie. We have a rookie in Mercedes. We have a rookie in Red Bull, and these are drivers that are going to be handling the best of the best machines on the grid. So this would also add to the dynamism in the position, because a lot of drivers are going to be up on the table solely based on their experience. An example is the Aston Martin team. The Aston Martin team is terrible, at least from everything we've seen in testing. We know that they're going to have a very terrible season. Now, we might now boil it down to the fact that they are preparing for 2026. But at the same time, you have to respect Alonso and know that Alonso might finish 10th, 11th, solely based on his experience, solely based on the fact that he knows how to drive a very terrible car. So that would also come into play in the top of the table, because we would have people like Max maxing out his car and eventually topping the table. Possibly, it might not happen. But if he tops the table with a car that a lot of us are considering as the fourth best car in the on the grid, that says a lot about the kind of season we are going to have. And we need to also call our attention to the fact that Red Bull was not all that so good at the tail end of last season. So if they transfer that form from last season to this season, well, maybe Ferrari might even have a shot.
I want to come to Verstappen in the bit, but let me just apologize to our viewers out there because I'm experiencing some difficulties and my distance seems to be acting on every time my video is on. So I'm trying to balance my audio and my video. For Verstappen and Red Bull, I think the first half of last season showed that they had the fastest car. But McLaren kept improving that car. By the time it got to the second half of last season, there was no touching the McLaren. Like, there was no touching it in any way. It was the fastest car, but Verstappen had built that lead. So he was able to consolidate on it and eventually became world champion ahead of Lando Norris. But for this season, the only advantage that I believe that Verstappen has over Lando Norris, Oscar Piastri, Hamilton, Charles Leclerc, Kimi Antonelli, or George Russell is, for these other three teams, there are two drivers. Nobody has defined it that you are driver number one, you are driver number two. We're just fighting equally. For Verstappen and Liam Lawson,
it is just one driver. It is just one driver.
I'm here to support him. I am the guinea pig for Verstappen's greatness. Everything that can go wrong with me. Everything that needs to be tested will be tested with me to ensure that Max wins. Because let's not forget, Toto Wolff has made clear his desire that he wants Verstappen the Mercedes, and Red Bull are playing that game of we're going to have to do everything to satisfy Max and show him that he can win. Yes, he's the highest paid player, highest paid driver on the grid. He has won four consecutive world championships and stuff like that. But ultimately, Red Bull, there's no hidden secret about it. Liam Lawson knows that he's here. So whatever it is that Red Bull can manufacture, whatever upgrade they're going to have as the season proceeds, everything is going to be focused on Verstappen. And don't forget, Adrian Newey is going to be a big miss because of his genius and ability to design the car. But one thing that Red Bull showed us the second half of last season is that they designed that car at the end of that second half of last season to match Verstappen's skills, in the sense that he can maximize the speed out of the car. The car might like balance in other places. We don't care whether Sergio Perez is hitting people left, right, and center and causing all kinds of damage in qualifying. That's not our problem. This car is going to get Max to the promised land. So, depending on how they upgrade, how they improve their performance, it's still a possibility for Verstappen. And let's not even downplay. We might not like his persona and the team and Red Bull, and like they got booed at the F1 75-year event at London. But nobody can downplay his talents. He's actually that talented, he's that gifted, and he's that good of a driver. But, like you have mentioned, if he's able to still win the World Championship this year, it would show how much Red Bull will have improved as the season proceeds and how good of a driver he is. But speaking of pressure, I know we're excited about Ferrari and Hamilton, and to me, it still feels like a romance that down the line it will clear. I don't know if you saw Alonso's comments about Lando Norris, where Lando Norris came out and said, oh, blah, 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 we're not the favorites and everything. And Alonso is like, yeah, sure. When when McLaren wasn't that good, you told every other person, sure, you told Hamilton and every other person that, hey, you should be winning now, you have the fastest car. Now you have the fastest car. You are
Now you have the
telling us
fastest car. You
that
are downplaying
eh,
it.
and I'm playing is that uh, everything should not be based on winning now. Yeah, my friend, we better go and start winning because Bright, to you now, is it a case of Lando Norris has to deliver? Enough of this talk. It's time. You have the car, start the season and go.
Definitely, I feel like it's high time we start judging him based on the machine that is in charge of now. Because if you don't win now, what happens when the new FIA regulation comes in 2026, and maybe somebody, I don't know, maybe somebody comes and topple McLaren's McLaren. I don't really think it will happen because the issue that Honda is having with Aston Martin at this moment is not something that instinctively I can call names of somebody that might come out of the arches or another constructor that will come out of the arches. But from what we can see now, from what we saw last season and what we are seeing now, if they can't win, then it boils down to the owners that okay, well, maybe this guy is not as good as we think he was, and he's just a loud-mouthed guy because I feel he has disrespected a lot of drivers in the past. And now you are in the driving seat, like you are in pole position, literally, to lead the whole pack. And one way or the other, Max still finds a way to beat you at it. So what is now your excuse at this point in time? So I feel like after testing, the reality dawned on me that you know what, I really don't think Lewis Hamilton is winning his eighth championship this season. Now, then I looked at the teams that were supposed to compete. I'm writing of Mercedes for personal reasons. But now begs the question, if we are writing of Mercedes, if we are saying Red Bull is not as good as McLaren, then why is McLaren not winning the Drivers' Championship? It shows that obviously their drivers are not that good because they are winning the Constructors' Championship by obvious margins. So it begs the question, do they need to fill in the gap and get a driver that can actually get them the championship? So I think um, Piastri is more calm-headed, so we can cut him some slack. But time is running out for Lando Norris.
Um, you mentioned Ferrari and Hamilton, and I think it only makes sense for us to go to them because I mentioned something about the honeymoon period, expecting the honeymoon period to be over after 2-3 weeks, and Charles Leclerc has made known of his admiration and respect for Lewis Hamilton. You get, but that's all fun and games. When the race starts and the both of you are in the same car and it's equally as competitive, and the team is telling you, "Let Lewis pass," and you are like, "Why now? For where?" You get. So how do you see one the dynamic between the both of them, and what is going to be defined as success for Ferrari? Because now, according to the expert and the bookies, based on precision testing, let me make this clear. Based on precision testing, Ferrari is number two. um Red Bull are putting pressure on every other team by saying, "Oh, Helmut Marko is telling us that according to their own data, Ferrari is number two as well, and they are faster than people are giving them credit for. They're even faster than Mercedes. So everyone is trying to push the pressure to Ferrari. You are fast. You can challenge McLaren. You have Hamilton. To me, is it a case of Hamilton just getting back, competing for wins, showing us that magic in qualifying? Even if he doesn't end up winning the World Championship, would that be like a successful season for him? Or should the first year be a bedding period? We all know that the major change is coming in 2026, and you have to be ready. Like, you really have to be ready. We saw what happened when that change came and Mercedes could not keep up after the rules changed in 2020. So, what for Ferrari now? Is it a case of, because I also know that Fred Vasseur, their team principal, is under pressure as well. You decided to bring in Hamilton and what have you. It's yes, off the field. For those that don't know, Ferrari's net worth has increased by 10 billion because they signed Hamilton. You get, like, it has increased by $10 billion already. But ultimately, you will still be judged by what happens on the track. Are we going to say, "Oh, let's keep it cool, no pressure, let's see how you perform until next year," or you need to start delivering immediately?
I think for the good of the team, the way to handle this season is to build that synergy. You know, I raised it a couple of weeks back that I didn't know that their car was not going to, because for me, from my own assessment, Ferrari was the third best car, not the second best car. I know a lot of talks about the second because people are trying to mount that pressure on them. Now it's about forming a synergy between both drivers, between Lewis Hamilton and the car, because with the load of experience that Hamilton has, there's still a bit of understanding that needs to come into working with the engineers in the factory and translating that into Grand Prix days. So it is a different atmosphere from testing, from factory testing to barrel testing to actual race day. They are different things entirely. So I feel like this season is a season to have that chemistry, to have that partnership with Charles Leclerc, to understand the car, to win some races. Like, I think it should be classified as a failure if they fail to win quality amount of races. Now, what number is quality amount of race? That will not be dependent on how the season goes. Will it be 5 races? Should we base achievement on 5 races? That okay, if Hamilton is able to win 5 races, until then, I don't think I can definitively say this is the number. But I feel like
I,
the
I think five,
synergy with
five
the car.
races five races would be a good season for him actually.
Yeah, so I
When you
feel like
compare it to
five
the
races.
last few years.
Yeah, 5 4 races, winning 5 or 4 races should be a good yardstick to say, okay, we are on the right track. And when new regulation comes in 2026, we can now adapt. Sure, you get, because I feel like 2026 would be a good slate to start afresh. Now, he would have the ample time, the ample opportunity. The media frenzy is no longer there. He can now put in the work. They can now compete on level playing field. It's not like the field was not leveled, but from the previous regulation, obviously McLaren has like a leap start in the sense that they have the better car from previous season and they can develop more on that car. Just the same way it was with Red Bull, the same way it was with Mercedes at one point. So I feel like 2026, working with the engineer, working with the whole team, having an understanding with his teammates, because, like I mentioned some weeks ago, both of them have aggressive driving style. And if two teammates are clashing within the pit stop or within the team, as the case may be, for the Kulukwa Manta, it will translate to the track and it will affect the performance of an individual. If the two of them are clashing in third and fourth, rather than trying to go after the person that is in pole position, it will create a dynamism that would not work on the long run. So this season is like a sacrificial season where I feel they can compete for the constructor championship, probably lose out by a couple points, and see that as a trampoline to now move to the new FIA regulation next year. So I feel like 4 or 5 race is a very good yardstick to judge this season by.
Um, I have to put you on the spot here because I don't know why I'm excited about Kimi Antonelli because the value of the unknown sometimes is exciting. Something new. We always like new things as humans. But why do you think Mercedes? Why are you writing up Mercedes early? Is it because they have a rookie and the man who beat Hamilton 3 times, or is it because, or is it because the car, the car itself? Because on straight line speed, if you go by testing, on straight line speed, Mercedes had the second fastest straight line speed. Do you get like they are packing a lot of power in that engine and there's obviously something to offer there. So if you now saying you're writing them more for personal reasons, are you saying okay maybe it's a management thing or the fact that Antonelli might not obviously he's not the champion of F2 but he has shown potential from a very young age and he's 18, so there's still more room for him to grow, or do you feel like that pressure because it's one thing to be Verstappen came in at the age of 17 for Toro Rosso. Toro Rosso was junior team to Red Bull at that point. If you are the junior team to Red Bull, you are not expected to offer much. Just help with the development of the driver and the senior team and stuff like that. So that pressure is different compared to an 18-year-old going into a Mercedes team that has dominated for so long but has fallen off that they are falling off their pitch as well. So is that pressure on Kimi?
Yeah, I think it's a mix of both. It's a mix of the fact that straight line speed is different from outcome in races most times, because I think there was one point where their steering was stiff. I don't know if it was Mercedes or it was Red Bull. I
No, that
think
was
it was
Red Bull.
either of.
That was Red
Okay,
Bull.
okay. So it is more about the steering into corners than the straight line speed. Now, and we need to understand that DRS is going next season. So whatever you are used to, if you are not careful, would become redundant next season. And this is one of the places where experience comes into play. So I feel like it might sound like I'm a big fan of him. I'm a big fan of Kim. I don't think there's anybody that's gassed Kim up as much as I did last season and 2 seasons ago when he came in. I think he had a race last season or thereabout. Was it last season or 2 seasons ago? So I like nobody has gassed Kim up as much as I do on this pod. But the fact remains that there are some pressure cooking situations where George Russell will excel over Kim, and it will come into play. So that's why I'm tipping Russell to finish above Kim because of pressure. There's a time on track where the team will be giving you rubbish on radio, but it is just your instinct to know what is right to do at that point in time.
True,
And
true,
is
true.
as Kim got to that level where he can tell Toto Wolff, "Oh, guy, I'm not pitting." I don't
Yeah,
think he has got to
I'm
that
not
level yet.
boxing yet. Yes, yes, yes.
I'm not boxing yet. Oh, guy, I'm not boxing yet. I still want to go 2 laps before I box. I don't think Kim has gotten to that level yet. And you see, that kind of difference is what would cut 2 seconds away from your time from your lap. A lot of times, I'm not pitting yet. Give me 2 more laps. That is what will differentiate you from being in fourth and maybe seventh. So, is Kim at that level yet? Those are the things I want to see this season. I want to see the way he handles the team on radio. I want to see the way he overtakes his teammates. It is very important. Would he be aggressive when it's supposed to be aggressive? Will he be passive when it's supposed to be passive? There are sometimes that intentional, you're not supposed to even try to overtake your teammate because you want your teammate to be the sacrificial lamb for somebody that is coming with DRS from far. So these are the little differences that would separate him out from, because when you look at someone like Perez, some of the things that lost him his seat is the fact that Baba can decide to be aggressive when he's not even supposed to be aggressive. Sometimes he's just supposed to be passive and score some points on the table. He will just go aggressive. Boom! I want to go and meet Max by fire by force. Because he does not understand. It's not like he does not understand. He's experienced enough to understand. But that is just who he is. Now, who is Kim? We don't really know who Kim is. I would always point out that whatever version of a driver you see in F2 would be a very different or slightly different version of what you will see in F1. Because the stakes are higher, the spotlight is higher,
The cars
and
are even
the room
different.
for error is very slim. Look at somebody like Jack Dohan. He has not even started, and they're already telling him, "Okay, you're not finishing this season." Like, like as a driver, how do you expect me to react to that?
I
It
was even
means
I was going to go to the rookies in the next that was what I was going to focus on. But I like the fact that you
so
pointed Jack Dohan because he has been
I will
dealt
not speak too much on that so that we can get
he
to
has
that
been
later.
dealt
Like
an unfair
he has
situation
been dealt a very bad hand. Like it's just like
because
you're on a casino table.
now he has not even started yet. You are telling him that what's the name of this Argentine that did well last season for you as the Argentine driver that is your reserve driver, you're already telling him that, oh, he's there to take your seat. Oh, we have our eyes on Bottas too. Oh, we are looking at this driver too. For the love of God, he's a rookie. He has not even had time to pass gas in the car. You're already telling him that you're under pressure. You are under pressure. If you don't do like it's Alpine, the way Alpine has managed his entire situation has been really bad. It's almost as if some people decided, oh, let's go for Jack Doan. He has been good in F2, blah blah blah. Then some other people are like, let's see now. Let's see what he's going to do in the first 2 races. If he doesn't do well half of the season, we might have to take him out and bring in. I'm trying to. Franco Colapinto. Colapinto is your reserve your reserve driver. So you're like, we have Colapinto as our third and reserve driver there. He has shown that, yes, and rightfully so. Colapinto showed promise last season. But why didn't you just stick with him? Why are you going after a young talent?
Why you going, why did you give the seat to Jack in the first place? Why did you give the seat to Doan in the first place? Because it destroys the dynamism. Now I would understand if Alpine was a top constructor this season. Say hypothetically, let's assume they are in the top 4, and you give a rookie your seat and you're applying that kind of pressure. You get. Now, what happens is Baba is in mid-table, possibly might even drop to bottom table. And now he has to do radical things or erratic decisions just to ensure that he keeps his seat. And it messes with the head, considering the fact that Formula One is a sport of fast reflex decision. There are some decisions you must make in milliseconds that will determine if you will retire from that race. Now, a lot of these engines, the difference between normal car engines and F1 engines is one is built for performance, one is built for efficiency. F1 is performance. Even if the car go blow today, as a driver, your obligation is to get the best from that car. So if you push the car too much and then you keep blowing engines, because my prediction is Doan will blow engines based on the fact that he has a milestone in his head and there's a limitation to what his car can actually do. But because he has potential, he believes in himself, because by default, you want to believe in yourself that I deserve this seat and I should keep this seat. So I think that's too much of a pressure to put on a rookie by any standard. I think they should have just stuck to him, put their faith in him, and if they want to change him, do that in 2026, and not even tell the whole world. They've come to the press to tell the whole world that he might not even finish this season. Like, how do you expect that small boy? How do you expect that teenager to deal with that?
To be honest, I know the stakes are high, but it seems like he's already fighting a losing battle from the beginning. Before we leave, I think our time is fast spent. It has been announced that Cadillac will be the 11th team next season. Cadillac are joining Formula One as the 11th team, which is exciting because a few years back we had 11 teams. The more drivers on the grid, the more excitement you get. The more teams makes it more dynamic.
The more collision
you get. and now you can see veteran drivers like Valtteri Bottas, Sergio Perez, and the like saying, okay, I'd like to join this Cadillac, boys. LMJ, on the final notes, more drivers, more fun, I guess.
Yeah. I feel like more drivers, more fun, but at the same time, there's going to be a lot of dynamism next year. The cars are going to be smaller. The cars are going to be lighter, and the cars are going to fall under more stricter SDG goals rules. So it would change a lot of things. The chassis is going to change too, a whole lot. Suba is going to transition to Audi, and I think that will make it 2 American constructors on the grid. So there's going to be a lot of dynamism. And if you think we've seen driver lineup change this season, I bet you are going to be confused next season. A lot of constructors are going to swap drivers. Drivers are going to be switched all over the grid. So I feel like next year chaos, or this year's chaos rather, is nothing compared to the chaos we're going to see next year. And that is why I want stability for Ferrari. I'm very sorry, I'm biased. That is why I want stability for Ferrari this season. So if they can have stability this season, they can have transitional stability, not necessarily by winning the championship or winning anything. Transfer that stability this season, move it to next season. We are going to have enough time for research next season, or we'll be doing research this season anyway. So there's going to be more time to move things along. And when everybody is in chaos, when everybody is experiencing pandemonium and teams are not even sure the drivers that will drive for them next season, we have a strong foot in Leclerc and Lewis and can now transition to next season and can now boss the grid. So I feel like we just need to bottle whatever chaos we see this season in, because it is nothing compared to what we are going to see next season.
To be honest, I can't wait. And next week, by this time next week, like I mentioned earlier, will give us an idea of where we stand, and we'll be able to talk about the Melbourne Grand Prix, the Australian Grand Prix, in depth as to what happened with the race and drama and everything associated with it. To our listeners, to our viewers out there, thank you so much for being here with us. We're on our way back. Whatever issues that we've had, we're trying to put everything aside. But for more content, sports, and entertainment, please check out On About Nothing on Twitter and Instagram. For all things sports, lifestyle related, stick with us at On About Nothing. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Until next time, cheers, guys.
Cheers, guys.